Hello, I'm Kevin Benedict, Senior Analyst for Digital Transformation and Mobility here at Cognizant. I want to thank you for joining us today. This is part 2 in a 3-part series with SmartSoft CEO and founder Michael Boerner. It's a fascinating discussion on how code halos, big data can be used with point-of-sale systems to create a hyper-personalized experience on mobile devices. Part 2, in this segment, we're talking about how that can be then translated for implementation in a retail pharmacy environment to provide hyper-personalized user experiences for anyone on any screen that needs to be educated both on lifestyle changes and the medicine that they are prescribed. In part 3, we continue this discussion and also talk about how code halo strategies and digital transformation are impacting the business models of startups today. Thank you for joining.
Correct.
So walk us through a scenario. Let me just paint a scenario here. I recently went to the doctor. They say I have high blood pressure, my cholesterol is a problem. I've never had that before. I get a series of prescriptions. I go to my pharmacist. Walk me through one of those scenarios. What would that user experience be like?
You bet. So that technology allows us to be able to draw the very personalized data around that experience. Let me show you a picture of what that will look like.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, in a Best Buy setting, you've got the ability to say, hey, thank you for purchasing your new laptop with Windows 8. And right at the top is the brand, and right there also the masthead is my neighborhood.
So thank you for having high blood pressure. Thank you for having high cholesterol.
Glad you've got something we can serve you with. So in this case, for example, these are brands we've been in discussions with about how to deploy this. So for example, you go to your neighborhood pharmacy.
Okay.
Right in the masthead would be the ability to put your insurance company and your doctor.
So that's hyper-personalization right there. My doctor, my insurance company. What about the location in which I'm buying?
Completely customized right to that geolocation, so it feels like it's, wow, this is really for me. And this has got my name.
Let me push you one more step forward. What about if I'm familiar with one particular pharmacist that operates at a pharmacy?
Well, coming down to the pharmacist level, I suppose you could make that happen. That would be a hyper personalization.
Yeah, hyper, okay.
But what we can do in that case is allow the local pharmacist in that particular store to do his own pre-roll greeting specific to your data record, if you felt that was important. Because in the pharmacy world, there are some hyper users of pharmaceuticals that have a number of comorbidities that require a lot of medications. And so you could actually make that work by letting local customization, and as you know, the ability to do high definition video from our simple smartphones is there. So we have the ability to actually give a personalized pre-roll greeting if that was chosen to be done by the brand.
So the video experience is all personalized, and what kind of videos may I be looking at and watching? What would be fed to me?
So the videos come to you across any screen. That's very, very key. We call it the frictionless delivery. And so we take and send a PURL, a personalized URL, directly across ScreenFlow. At the counter, we actually allow the environment to show them, Mrs. Fulton, we have a brand new way to show you how to use your medications and better understand your disease state. This is what it looks like. So suddenly we can actually show them what it looks like. And in many cases, most of the people in the retail space are trying to collect email, and now they have a high value reason to collect it if they don't already have it. So that sets up an expectation that that's going to be coming to them at any moment, and depending on how real-time their POS system is, that PURL gets pushed directly to them either using text or email.
So if I have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, I'm going to get some videos, and I'm going to be familiar with, here's my insurance company, here's the medicine, here's my doctor, and now I'm getting these videos, and the videos are going to walk me through what?
So the videos walk you through not only that medication, and again, it's specific to the medication. It's not just a brand name, it's not just a generic, it's exactly that medication.
Here's what you just got prescribed.
Mirror image, precisely. And that's where the technology and the data mirroring is extraordinarily important under a HIPAA-based environment. And now it's all about me. It's all about my medication, my name's there, my doc, my pharmacist, etc. And now as you walk through the videos, the beauty is they're all sequenced. They're designed to be an arc of engagement where they're put one after the next in a specific order so you can understand the phasing of the information in the right sequence.
So am I to sit down then and walk through 8 of these, or is there a timing matter involved? How does that work?
We try to make what we call the smart page consumable in about 8 to 10 minutes in 2-minute bites. So it's usually a short greeting followed by 4 2-minute videos.
Okay.
So right below, you have the ability to go, oh, I see exactly what's going on in my disease state. Here's how the medication works. Oh, here's an animation that explains that. And the real power, we call it the why. People have said people often lose their way when they lose their why. And if you think about upstream, because of in the healthcare environment, you've got a real narrowing of the revenues and the time a physician can spend with the patient. So they don't have the time to explain why they wrote the script. Here, you've got high cholesterol, take this medication. Well, why do I need to do that? You get to the pharmacist, they are busy people. And now you've got the drive-through, keeping that place just absolutely going through a lot of volume. And so often we don't get the time, we really need to get the why. And in many of these medication scenarios, they're called asymptomatic conditions. They don't have any symptoms. So if they quit taking their medication, they don't feel any different as if they kept taking it. So they quit. So about half of the people on certain chronic medications just stop. And that creates, according to Express Scripts and other reports, about $300 billion plus in what they call pharmacy-related waste. So you're supposed to take your, say, your cholesterol-lowering medication, you didn't take it, well, guess what? Now you have a $75,000 or $100,000 open heart surgery. Very big difference. If you would have just taken your medication and become what's called adherent, big difference. So this all of a sudden not only gives you the why, but has the compassion explanation on, oh, I get it now. I see what's going on inside of me when I don't take my medication.
Got it.
And you create a new mental framework for them to follow for weeks and months.
So let's talk about the business value. What's the value to retail pharmacies?
So on the retail pharmacy front, there's a number of values. First of all, they really don't have a lot of relationship to the customer after they leave the counter.
Okay.
So this is designed to give them a way to give a long-term immersive relationship to the customer, because now all of a sudden the smart pages can be time released based on refill times.
Okay.
Can be released based on months or weeks afterwards on the things that they know that patient would need to understand. Also at the bottom of the smart page, the pharmacist can now refer them to all of the relevant links, their history, certain things that go along with that disease state, understandings they need to have about that medication, and then they can also move them into what we call phase 2, which is the connection from pharma to now health and wellness.
Okay.
Because if you think about those two worlds, you've had big pharma, which is an extraordinarily important piece of our culture, but they often aren't the ones who really understand how to connect you to truly what's next in eating 3 times a day. So that's not really the pharmacist's job. So all of a sudden we've got this gap. Well, technology, because of these code halos, I know who this patient is, I know what their condition is. Well, based on that data, if they're a cholesterol, let's say, consuming pharmaceutical regimen, they need to eat differently.
Right.
Well, so the very next piece of technology, and this is actually what we submitted around our IP in our patent application, was to take them to step 2, which is to move them from the pharmaceutical to health and wellness. Well, now all of a sudden we can bring in a New York Times bestselling author, which we've done, to walk you through cholesterol-lowering foods